Hey, Hard fans. Spider-Man here. What's up? Okay, Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, and the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse. What a very, very cool movie. I loved it. There's been a lot of, big screen Spider-Man actors in the last, 15, 16 years. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, directed by Sam Raimi, number 1. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, number 2. Forgot who directed those. Number 3, Tom Holland Spider-Man. Big hit there with Spider-Man Homecoming and the upcoming Spider-Man Far From Home. Also, he was in Civil War and Infinity War. Tom Holland kicking butt as Spider-Man. But my favorite Spider-Man movie lately has been the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie that introduces us to a brand new form of Spider-Man. That's right, Miles Morales. Brand new kid, brand new Spider-Man, brand new powers. I'm talking about the Venom Strike and invisibility. Extremely cool. Not only is Miles Morales a different kind of Spider-Man, but he's from an entirely different type of dimension. It's called E1610. That's right, it's got a really funky scientific name. So I'm going to be your cartoon tour guide as we walk through some of the differences between Miles Morales' dimension and ours. Thwip. So a perfect place to start is the scientific facility known as Alchemax. Now in this movie, in the Spider-Verse, it's called Alchemax, but in all the other, I think most of the other Spider-Man incarnations, I know for sure in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and a lot of the comic books, it's Oscorp, owned by Norman Osborn. In fact, we even get a chance to see Norman Osborn in Spider-Verse because at the very beginning, when Miles Morales first gets his spider powers, he goes through a wall and he's looking into the lab at this particle collider, and he sees Spider-Man of that dimension battling the Green Goblin of that dimension, Norman Osborn. But the Green Goblin in that dimension is so enormously different than the Green Goblin we're all used to. The Green Goblin in our dimension, at least the dimension I grew up with, reading the comic books from the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, Green Goblin's just a man, a super-powered man, kind of crazy, got a green mask, big green pointy ears, throws pumpkin bombs and rides a flying bat robot thing. That's our Green Goblin. But this Green Goblin is almost like a dinosaur, like Godzilla. And I gotta tell you, I thought it was pretty darn cool. We're in Alchemax to start off with. We see the people that work there. We see all the minions, of course, in their white lab coats who work there. The Scorpion works there, and he hablas the Espanol, which is really, really cool. If you compare that Scorpion compared to the Scorpion I grew up with when I was a kid in the Spider-Man TV show from 1967, that's just a dude in a green jumpsuit with like some lines on it and this weird tail and that can like smash things. This version in Spider-Verse is a much cooler version of the Scorpion. Hey, technology increases, and I guess Scorpion powers do too. That guy's kind of got a half robot body. It's very cool. Also, Tombstone, the gray dude who works with Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, and the character design of Wilson Fisk, number 1, is extremely cool. Just how he's just like a head in the middle of this massive body. And what's weird, he's designed so far away from all the other characters. Like, he doesn't look like a human being at all, yet he fits in that universe because it's so stylized and it works. It just works perfectly. Another awesome character that works at Alchemax, working for Wilson Fisk, is Olivia Octavius, Doc Ock. And I just love that character. And as I'm watching this movie, I thought, have I seen this female Dr. Octopus somewhere before? And I don't think I have. I think this is the first time this particular incarnation of Dr. Octopus, Olivia Octavius, has appeared anywhere. So way to go, guys, on that. And I also loved the way she was designed. I loved her tentacles. They weren't really made of metal. They were just like plastic tubing, almost like had plasma in them, and it looked almost like an oxygen mask type of a tube, and it was extremely creepy and cool at the same time. And what was really cool too about the way they designed her lab later on in the movie in Alchemax, because Octopus 8, there's octagons everywhere in her lab, and there's the number 8 everywhere. And little subtle things like that are really cool. Absolutely loved it. So we leave Alchemax, and then we get into the life of Miles Morales. And Miles is really an interesting character. And I got to be honest with you, as I grew up, there were no Miles Morales comic books. Miles didn't come around until about the last 15 years or so. And so I kind of wasn't reading comic books as much then. never really knew much about Miles Morales, and I am just so thrilled that I actually didn't, because I love the way they introduced him to a guy like me who didn't really know much about him. That's the true test. Can they make me love this character I wasn't preconditioned to like already? And they really did. You know, Miles has a police officer dad that absolutely loves him. His mom is Spanish. She is obviously a working mom. She has her hospital scrubs on at home. So he's got working parents. It's a very urban feel, which I absolutely love. Spider-Man's a very, very urban character, inner city type of stuff. Really love all that stuff. And Miles has a very, very cool uncle named Aaron, who's the brother of his father. All right, so after Miles gets bitten by the spider, and this is when he starts discovering his spider powers. And I love the way they did this too. And I love how Gwen Stacy's brought into it as well, where Miles meets her in his classroom. And the animation style, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what they did. I know it's CG with 2D on top of it in some way. But it's just, they could have done a standard 2D Spider-Man movie, and they didn't. They could have done a standard 3D Spider-Man movie with CGI, and they didn't. They combined the two and did a great job. I also love the direction of this movie. And so some of the differences here, you know, Miles, his uncle Aaron, is actually a villain known as the Prowler. We don't find that out till later. But Peter Parker didn't have an evil uncle. You know, Uncle Ben died, but Peter Parker didn't have an evil uncle, but Miles does, and it's the Prowler. This guy's been stalking him the entire movie, and that reveal in the movie, spoiler alert, is so cool that it really makes you feel for Aaron, like the choices he's made, why he made these choices, and it really makes you feel for Miles when he sees his uncle killed right in front of him. Very, very cool. Really, really amazing character stuff they did there. So anyway, in the midst of Miles figuring out his powers, he buys that little Halloween costume and puts it on his face. And because Spider-Man's kind of a celebrity in this dimension, which is way different than the other Peter Parker in our dimension, I guess you would say. Not a ton of Peter Parker in his and Peter B. Parker in his dimension doesn't really have a lot of Spider merch, but in this dimension there's Spider merch everywhere. So Miles is wearing the mask, other people got the mask and stuff. There's even a Christmas album called Spidey Bells. There's tons of Spider merch in this dimension. So Spider-Man has been branded like as a celeb in this dimension. It's really, really cool. But then Miles stumbles upon Peter B. Parker, the Spider-Man from our dimension. Peter B. Parker, the older Spider-Man. He's been Spider-Man for 22 years. He's older, a little thicker. His life isn't going so great, but he and Miles team up. And it's through this meeting we actually see that Miles has a thing called the Venom Strike. He's got like this lightning bolt of electricity that comes out of his body. He can strike people with this Venom Strike, and he can turn invisible as well. So that's a huge couple of differences between our Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And then we get introduced to all the other Spider people from all the other dimensions. Penny Parker with her robot Spider-Man. Peter Porker, Spider-Ham. Spider-Noir, voiced by Nicolas Cage, the Nazi-fighting, kind of Humphrey Bogart-looking black and white Spider-Man. And, of course, Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, extremely cool. All right, those are some of the big differences between the Spider-Verses, between the Spider-Man we all know from, this dimension, and the Spider-Man family from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There's a bunch of little differences I noticed too that are really cool. Here's one. You know the big Coca-Cola sign in Times Square that's part of our dimension? Well, in Spider-Verse's dimension, it's called Coca Soda. That's one. Planet Hollywood is called Planet Inglewood. The movie Bridesmaids is called Baby Showers. The movie Shaun of the Dead is called From Dusk Till Shaun. Steph Curry is not a basketball player in this dimension. He is a golfer. Seth Rogen stars in a movie called Hold Your Horses for some reason. Chance the Rapper, instead of wearing a 3 on his hat, he's got a number 4. Miles Morales' dad works for the PDNY as opposed to the NYPD. Blake Griffin's not a basketball player in Spider-Verse. He's a baseball player. FedEx is called RedX. The New York Yankees are called the New York Red Sox. And the Blue Man Group is called the Red Man Group. All right, guys, that's it for my cartoon tour. I'm your cartoon tour guide. I've been your cartoon tour guide. What other cartoon universes do you want me to tour you through? I'd like to do it for you. Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you want to hear more about Peter Porker? We could dive deep into his universe. We could really dive deep into Gwen Stacy's, Spider-Gwen's universe as well. And let's get off the Spider-Man movie, too. If you don't want to do Spider-Man, we can do all kinds of other cartoon universes. There's a ton of cartoons out there. Okay, so let me know which other cartoon universes you want me to explore down in the comment section below. I don't mean I'm going to explore them down in the comment section. I mean just leave the note in the comments, and then I'll maybe make another video about another, universe. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is awesome when you do that. That way, we're stuck together like a spider web, sticking us all the time. You and me. Come on, right? And don't forget, art gives you power. Use it wisely. Thwip. Hey Heart fans, subscribe here to keep up with me, Danny, Timmy, Dudley, Bunsen, and the Noog Network, my new app full of cartoons, shows, and games. Download it here. Click over here to watch my most recent video, and here to start a playlist related to this video. Whoa, check out that awesome fan art. To be featured here, use hashtag HeartFanArt and tag me. I'm on every social media platform known to man. Cartoon Butch out. Pencil drop.